Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the show, did the WWE spoil Cody Rhodes' return at the Rumble? Legends showing up on Raw coming up Monday night. We're watching Rampage. We watch Smackdown. Let's get it started. Yes, indeed. Where is he? There he is. Big Johnny! How you doing, man?
I'm well. I can tell that you're not as well, but you're still here on the show, so that's good. Glad you're powering through this long weekend for you.
Yeah, big weekend here on the Ringside Report Network. I'm still sick. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. Real bad flu I got, but I'm getting over it slowly, somehow. I sound worse than I am, I guess, at this point. I was like real sick last week. It was real bad. We actually canceled a show last Thursday. But last night we were back for Ringside Report MMA, and we're going to be back tomorrow night with Freddie and AJ for the UFC 283 watch-along, which is going to be fun. Glover Teixeira against Jamal Hill in the main event. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that UFC pay-per-view. We'll see if AJ is going to be in studio with me. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to be near me when I sound like this, but we'll see. We're talking pro wrestling tonight, though. We got a lot of pro wrestling to talk about, John. I want to get right into it with you. Cody Rhodes announced this week on Raw by the WWE that he will return in the Royal Rumble. Some people questioning the move of announcing ahead of time that Cody is returning in the Rumble. Do you think they should have left it as a surprise, or are you good with them announcing it ahead of time?
Well, they have their reasons, I'm sure. I mean, this is a whole build-up, right? It's his comeback. It's part of the story. Is like this is what happened when he came back, his return, and then the match with Seth at Hell in a Cell, and then what happened afterwards. Like it's the whole build towards that. So it's like, I mean, they could say, "Oh, he's not going to come back in the Rumble," but I mean, it's kind of super obvious that he was coming back in the Rumble. I mean, why not just say, "Yeah, he's coming back in the Rumble"? I feel like it's a no-brainer anyways, and they haven't announced many people anyways for the Rumble. I think they probably have other surprises. Like they feel like the Cody thing, they don't need that to be a surprise.
Yep, I think you're right. I think you're dead on. And I think further to that, I don't think Cody is winning the Rumble. And I think if he were to return as a surprise in the Rumble, people might want him to win just based off the surprise in the return, you know? People get behind certain wrestlers. Texas, San Antonio, Texas is where the Rumble's going to be. And, of course, Cody's daddy, Dusty Rhodes, a legendary Texas wrestler, right? So they could get behind Cody. I could see that. But this Rumble, like you said, could be down for a lot of surprises. So far, we have half the entrants announced. Half. Cody is one of them, of course. And if you look at who's in it so far, I think you'd have to look at Cody as one of the favorites. However, there are some other players that will make themselves known. Kofi Kingston, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, they're not winning. They're in it. Austin Theory, he's in it. He's probably not going to win, but he's got a shot, I'd say. They've been pushing him strong. Seth Rollins, he's in it. You never know with Seth. Bobby Lashley's in it. Probably not. Baron Corbin, Rey Mysterio, Gunther. I think it'd be cool if they push Gunther to the moon, but I don't think they're going to do it. Cody Rhodes, Omos. I mean, Omos isn't winning. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, they're not winning. Braun Strowman is not winning. And Karrion Kross is not winning. Those four, by the way, all announced tonight that they were going to be in the Rumble. Or today, during the course of the day. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, latest entries. of those guys, John, of the 15, right? Hypothetically, say everybody else in the match is going to be a jabroni that won't win. Of those 15, you got to say Cody or Seth, right? Maybe Austin Theory.
Well, I say Cody or Seth. I mean, I like it to be Austin Theory. I don't think they're going to push him that far quite yet. Maybe next year he's got a better shot at it, but it's kind of like when they were pushing Cena at first, and it's like they weren't pushing him for the title; they pushed him for the U.S. title to beat the Big Show. So like he had a decent showing in the Rumble, and I'm expecting Theory to have a very decent experience in the Rumble, but not to win. Like, Final 4, 6, whatever. But yeah, I don't see Theory there. Rollins, though, I mean, you got to think about who would face Roman Reigns, who's believable to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in the main event. Yeah, I could see Rollins.
Yeah.
I could see Cody. That all makes sense. Not my picks, but yeah, I could see that.
And we're both picking The Rock to win, right? The Brahma Bull, the people's champ, the most electrifying man in all of entertainment. Right? We're still picking The Rock?
As of now. We still got a week left, right?
I love that. That our pick is The Rock to win the Royal Rumble this year. I think that's fantastic. Ryan Katz asking a good question. Loyal viewer Ryan Katz. Will WWE open the forbidden door for the Men's Rumble? There's been talk of Jay White. And I don't know if that would be forbidden door because I think Jay White's contract is done with New Japan and he could go anywhere. I could see Jay White being signed. I know there was a lot of talk of Jay White last year in the Rumble, and I haven't heard a lot of buzz this year, but I could see Jay White showing up in the WWE on the main roster. Why not? He's a top-level talent, and if his contract is up with New Japan and he's looking to go to the United States, which is a report that I did read, I'm not sure where, but I'm pretty sure Jay White is done with New Japan and is looking for a WWE or AEW deal, and I can see it being a WWE deal.
Interesting. I mean, wait and see. I mean, I'm expecting something like a Zack Ryder, actually, but
oh, okay.
Maybe even Mickie James, because Mickie James, remember last year or the year before, she was like the Knockouts champion, which she is again. I could see her again, possibly be in the Rumble.
Okay.
Just an appearance, whatever. But there's your forbidden door, in a sense.
I heard Booker T is going to be in the Rumble, sucker.
Yeah, well, Booker T, a commentator on NXT, is not really forbidden door, but whatever.
Yeah. I saw a recent match of Booker's, maybe a clip of a match. He looked fantastic.
Okay.
He looks the same somehow.
It's pretty good. Well, he stays in shape then, that means.
Yeah. Well, he's got a wrestling school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's having matches there, and he looks great. I could see him in the Rumble. I've heard rumblings, Royal Rumble rumblings, of Stone Cold Steve Austin showing up in the Rumble. Now, could they possibly give us Austin and The Rock in the Rumble and have only one of those guys winning?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. It doesn't make sense. I could see Austin maybe showing up on the show, but in the Rumble, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're gonna have Brock Lesnar in the Rumble, and you're gonna have The Rock, and then you're gonna put Austin, it's pretty star-studded. I don't expect the WWE to pull that off, to be honest.
It's pretty stacked. It's a stacked Rumble.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the guys that have been announced for Raw XXX? By the way, if you're going to Google Raw XXX, make sure you Google WWE Raw XXX, because if you just Google Raw XXX, you might find some weird gimmicks, if you know what I mean.
We're getting a gimmick right here? That's not
Raw
a gimmick.
XXX. There's a gimmick for you.
Well, it's just the updated list.
Updated graphic of the people showing up on Raw, brother. I don't know if you know that. Up here, that's Erwin R. Shyster up in the top corner.
I guess that's what, Medusa?
I think that's Medusa. I thought it was Lillian Garcia at first, and I was like, what's going on here? But I'm pretty sure that's the Deuce. There's Teddy Long, player. Holla, holla. And then there's IRS and Ted DiBiase. So the $1 Million Man will be there.
Nice.
Godfather. Jerry Lawler. Jimmy Hart, who I love.
Well, with Hogan makes sense, yeah.
That's right, baby. I love it. I can't do a Jimmy Hart impression. My voice doesn't go that high. That guy was the best. Undertaker is going to be there on Raw. In full gimmick, I guess?
Why not?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with all these people. It's going to be one of those awkward deals where they try to kind of shoehorn people in. It's like, why are you here? What are you doing right now? Hogan is going to be there, brother. Let me tell you something, brother. I think they were going to save Hogan as a surprise, but Ric Flair said, oh, yeah, Hogan's going to be there, you know? Flair blew the surprise on his podcast, right? I think that's fantastic.
But he also said Steve Austin will not be there.
Oh, wow. Flair's really just going into business for himself on that podcast. So you got Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They look like they're doing a DX pose, so I guess they'll do some DX things with Road Dogg and X-Pac. Ron Simmons is there at the end. He's going to probably say damn at some point. DDP there, and, of course, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. It's quite a lineup. It's quite a lineup they have for Raw. Any of these people in the Royal Rumble?
I can't see any of these people in the Rumble, but
X-Pac.
Maybe, I guess. I mean, if he wants to do it, they want to do it, but he's not going to win. So I don't know if he's big on that to come back to just be in and out kind of thing,
And the pop, if Triple H could be healthy enough to do it, the pop for Triple H in the Rumble, my God.
Well, he did the whole thing with the boots in the ring, didn't he? Like, he's done.
Yeah. But if somehow he could get cleared for, I don't think he can, though. I think he's for sure done. But my God, the pop would be huge. Yeah, Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, I could see him as a possibility of showing up in the Rumble. He's not going to win it, though, I really think it's going to be The Rock. Which, as I say it, I giggle to myself because it seems ludicrous that Dwayne The Rock Johnson would be showing up in 2023 as a surprise entrant in the Rumble and winning. But it makes a lot of sense to set up the Roman Reigns match for WrestleMania, which is, I think, where they should be going. Most of the reports that I'm seeing point to that direction, right? It seems to be the going plan. But for some reason, people are like, oh, I don't know if The Rock's going to show up. What are the betting odds for the Rumble? We'll do the full Rumble preview next week where we'll tell you, about the rest of the card. But let's see. Royal Rumble betting odds. Cody Rhodes is the favorite, followed by Sami Zayn, followed by The Rock. Sami Zayn.
I mean, they're going with guys who are actually on TV. Oh, wow. Kingston just turned on Ortiz. Wow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Eddie Kingston's hitting Ortiz with a chair. Where's Eddie Kingston been?
He was on Rampage before. Remember, he wrestled with Ortiz against the House of Black.
Like, not much, Anyways. Yeah, he just turned on Ortiz.
The betting odds, I think, are favoring the people that you actually see on television because they're not convinced, I think, that The Rock's actually going to show up yet. We haven't seen The Rock. However, we do have that acknowledgement of every generation of the Samoan bloodline supposed to be on Raw this week, so that might be the start of it, I think.
The Bloodline Acknowledgement Ceremony set for Raw 30th anniversary show Monday night. And the Usos said, what did the Usos say this week? That every generation of the Bloodline will be joining them for a Bloodline Acknowledgement Ceremony. What does that mean? Rikishi?
Would Naomi show up, I guess? Or
I don't know about
technically
that.
She's part of kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Right? I would think Rikishi has to be a must.
Yeah, Big Quiche for sure. But what about The Rock? He's part of
Yeah.
the whole deal, you know?
See, my thing is, I think they're actually going to diss him in a sense where you think they're going to say The Rock and they say somebody else instead. That's not really important that much compared to The Rock. And that's going to be why The Rock would come back in the Rumble because they didn't acknowledge The Rock.
Ah. The Rock needs to be acknowledged. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how exactly they're going to do it, what specific angle they're going to take, but there are a lot of different ways to do it, right? A lot of different
Well, I mean,
ways
if
to
they
do
can
it.
if they can get The Rock for Raw, that's fantastic. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I mean, The Rock, a video message on Raw. Roman Reigns, you sit there and you know, you call yourself
Right?
the
Yeah.
tribal chief. You're the tribal jabroni, whatever, you know? Come up with something. I'm not doing it. But you could
No,
do
but you're
that.
right. Like something like that. Yeah, for sure. But I would think you'd want to save his first appearance back as like an actual live appearance instead of like via satellite, which I think we're going to see quite a few times throughout the feud.
Yeah. But I think still via satellite it would get a pop. Just a
Of
promo,
course.
you know? It's a big Raw, too. They're trying to bring out all the legends. But I think you're right. I don't think that we see The Rock until the music hits in the Rumble. Maybe number 27 or something, 28, and bada bing, bada boom, here comes Dwayne. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting. He'll have a little moment in the Rumble. They'll choose some people to wrestle with him. Brock Lesnar, possibly. Maybe some young guys. Maybe Cody, you know. Rock will eliminate them. He'll win the Rumble. And then he'll go on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to determine who the real tribal chief is. Because Rock says it's him. Roman's a little cousin to Big Dwayne.
Well, we've got a week to find out. It's going to be interesting. Like, I mean, it could still just be Cody in the end. Maybe they can't get The Rock. It's not impossible.
That'd be so whack. It's not as
Disappointing,
good.
for sure.
Yeah. So they got the Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony, which should be interesting on Raw. Bayley versus Becky Lynch in a steel cage. And they got all those legends. I noticed in the first graphic they had the Bella Twins, but then in the latest graphic there was no Bella Twins.
Interesting.
What
I didn't
happened?
notice that. Wow.
Yeah, they announced Bella Twins on Raw, but then on SmackDown they didn't show Bella Twins in the graphic. What gives?
Yeah, maybe they just couldn't work it out or whatever. Oh well. I mean, it's not like they don't have enough people, you know. I think they'll survive.
I guess. I don't know. I like the Raw highlight package they showed on SmackDown tonight because they acknowledge people that are in AEW but are a part of, you know, Raw history, like Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson, you know. They showed some of their highlights, and I was like, yeah, they didn't show CM Punk.
That's true. They didn't show him.
Not once. Did you not notice that? I was like, oh, wait a second. Somebody is missing. He had a long run. He was on Raw. He's pretty popular as a champion. Not a single shot. They showed everybody. Not a single shot of CM Punk. That tells you something. I mean, come on, man. WWE even is like, no, not this guy. It was interesting. The whole video package. And I was like, oh, this is good. They're acknowledging their history. And then it was all done. And I was like, yeah, they had everybody. Austin, you know, of course, The Rock, Bryan, Jericho. It was cool, you know. Hogan. Not really Hogan. But Hogan wasn't really a Raw guy. You know? Foley, you know. But not a single shot of CM Punk.
Huh.
I mean, they showed even Moxley was in it. When Seth turns on the Shield, you saw Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it goes to show you sometimes bitter feelings, like they still remain.
Yeah. I mean, if you thought CM Punk was going to leave AEW and go to WWE, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know? Just watching that video package, I was like, wow, wait a second. Huh. Okay. And Bobby Lashley's going to wrestle Austin Theory for the U.S. title on Raw, which, whatever. But it's the first time in a long time where I'm actually excited to watch Raw. I think because Hulk Hogan's going to be on. I think that's really the main thing. Hogan and Flair on Raw, I'm in. Even no matter how bad their segments may be or the lack of Hogan, we'll probably get him for like 30 seconds. We're like, what you going to do? And then that'll be it. But,
Right.
yeah, that's enough for me. Just the idea that Hogan's going to be there has got me excited to tune in, Because it's possible at the end of the night, that Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony, Roman Reigns starts talking a lot of trash, maybe even said some bad things about America, and somebody's got to go and, defend the honor, and we see a big boot and a leg drop at the end of the night and some posing. Hogan's in the building. You never know what might happen. I mean, that won't happen, but man, it would be sick. I'd love that so much. If like Roman's just talking mad trash, and then at the end Hogan comes out and he's like, "No way, brother!" and he just big boots him, leg drops him, just poses over him, holds the belts up. You're like, what the fuck? That's how I would end Raw. Hogan. I mean, it's not a bad way to end a show. Most of the shows that I watched as a kid and that you watched as a kid ended that way. Hogan posing after a big victory with the belts, and it worked. Don't tell me it didn't work.
Well, I mean, yes and no.
What?
It did get old though. Like it did become repetitive, and like it wasn't the best thing to watch, to be honest. Like around that time, that's when Brett was starting to get like having the best matches. Where it's like, yeah, Hogan may be the star of the show, but Brett's really the best guy to watch on the show.
Yeah. They showed Brett in the video package.
That's kind of sad.
But he's not going to be on Raw.
Brett in the video package.
Yeah.
Not going to be there.
No. Yeah, Hogan's not going to beat down everybody at the end of the show, but man, it'd be cool. It'd be pretty cool.
If he beats down Money Inc., if he beats down Money Inc., that should be a victory, I think.
That would be sick. I liked how Kevin Owens beat everybody down at the end of SmackDown tonight. I thought that was cool.
It's the only thing they could do. I mean, it took like 5 minutes to do that, entrance, and there's only 2 minutes left in the show. So it's like, well, you better run in and attack people because you can't do an actual contract sign. There's no time left.
Yeah. But that whole running story on SmackDown was good. It was the best thing going on the show. The Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns thing, the running promos that they had going, right?
It's always the best thing.
Yeah. And it was pretty solid. Roman was, they show up to the parking lot in the parking lot to the arena, and Sami goes to fist bump Roman. He's like all excited with the Usos and everything. He goes to fist bump Roman, and Roman kind of looks at him and walks away. And Sami's like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. And then he's in Roman's locker room, and Roman is upset with Sami for, I'm not sure why Roman was upset with Sami. Was he?
It was his demeanor. It was demeanor. It was the way he was. Like he was like, oh, like why are you guys interfering? Why are you guys doing this? He was questioning the tribal chief's decision
last week on SmackDown.
Right.
So Roman was unhappy about that, right? But it was kind of like Sami wasn't that upset last week. Like he didn't do anything to Roman. He was just kind of was like, oh, what's going on?
But well, then Roman's like, be truthful with me, and then Sami's like, oh, there's no problem, and then like he's be truthful about it,
Yeah.
And then he kind of was.
I don't know. Like it was all right, and it ended off fine with Kevin Owens beating everybody up, but like it felt kind of thin. Like every week it seems like there's some sort of minor conflict between Roman and Sami, or Sami and some other guy in the bloodline. And, Roman is like scary and Sami's kissing his ass. And then at the end, it's kind of solved. but is it
Right.
really? Like it was kind of thin this week. It was like Roman's mad because Sammy seemed slightly unhappy that Roman sent the Usos to interfere in his match with Kevin Owens last week. Like, yeah.
Well, it's the building blocks here. That's what we're getting. Like they're slowly building towards Sammy breaking away from the bloodline, but it's not going to happen right now. So week in, week out, you're going to get the little things of like Sammy and Roman having conflict. However, in the end, it's all going to work out in the end. It's kind of like a soap opera where it's like, oh, there's a problem, but in the end, everything kind of works out and
Yeah.
it's all the same until next week.
Yeah.
And then maybe there'll be more problems.
That's it. And Heyman told Roman, like, Roman kind of got mad at Sammy and was like, you're using the bloodline, you're using me, get out of here, go start your own thing with Kevin Owens. Kind of tossed him aside. And then Heyman tells Roman, like, oh, maybe we want him on our side now because we got this match with Kevin Owens coming up rather than, with Kevin Owens against us. It wouldn't be so good. So Roman is like, yeah, all right, go get Sammy. Heyman gets Sammy. Sammy comes back, and Roman's like, look, I understand, Sammy. I get it. It's all fine. But then they all go to the ring. Well, Roman goes to the ring with Solo and Heyman. He told Sammy to stay back and get the SUVs ready and make sure there's fuel in the jets because he wants to leave right after the show. So he goes for the contract signing, Roman does, and then Kevin Owens shows up right away, attacks Solo, attacks Roman, hits him with the stunner. Usos show up. Kevin takes both of them out. Kevin comes back in the ring, hits Roman with a pop-up powerbomb through the table, just obliterates Roman, and then looms over Heyman, takes the contract from Heyman, signs the contract. Sami Zayn then finally shows up and is kind of looking at Kevin Owens like he doesn't know what to do. Thank you. And then
it throws you off.
Yeah, Kevin tossed the contract at Sammy and then rolled out of the ring and kind of ran away from Sammy and then ran through the crowd.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Not a bad ending.
It was a good ending to SmackDown. And the little promos back and forth, they made sense, but they were kind of, I don't know, like Roman seems ridiculously moody, like overly moody. Like, why is he nitpicking all these little relationships in the bloodline? Like, it's kind of like, what?
Well, he says like he's a perfectionist, right?
Yeah, he's sensitive.
So everything's, yeah. That's it. You're seeing that sensitive side of Roman right now.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a terrible way to end SmackDown. The rest of the show was mostly tag team matches in this tournament that they're doing where the winner gets a shot at the Usos for the SmackDown belts. So, yeah, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus beating the Viking Raiders, which was decent. It
was the best match we'll probably see in the whole tournament. I don't know why we got the best match like first right away. It was kind of weird, but whatever. It's all right.
I liked Imperium and the Brawling Brutes, too. I thought that was good.
That was all right. Like, I feel like at some point some things were a little bit off in terms of like the interference and all that, but I mean, that seems to be common now in WWE. That was rampant this week with the horrific interference. On Raw, it was atrocious.
We'll get to Raw in a minute. I don't know what you're talking about exactly, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hit Row beat the Lotharios, so they advanced. That match was not great. Hit Row is not great. Imperium beat the Brawling Brutes, and Legado del Fantasma beat the Maximum Male Models, which was also not great. So it'll be
pretty weak.
Yeah, it was bad, right? Those male model guys
match.
are not great. It was not a good match.
Like Mosse, like how many years has he been there? Like he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yep.
He looks completely lost. Like it's weird.
The other one's not much better either.
What's his name?
Mansoor?
Mansoir. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but at least like he's got his character down though. He seems to be 100% on that. Like Mosse though, like I don't know if he knows what he's doing most of the time. And at one point, they had him like toe to toe with Brock Lesnar. It's like they had ideas for this guy. Remember, he was in that Retribution group for quite a while.
Yeah, Mace. And they changed him to
like
Mace.
they tried.
Yeah. He was a Raw commentator for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah. That's when Brock gave him the F5, and then that destroyed his commentating career.
Yeah. Yeah, they've kept him around a surprising amount of time for how untalented he appears to be. You know what I mean? Like, they've kept him employed through all sorts of things, and he's not good.
Well, I think it just goes to show you, I think they're very loyal to people that, I guess, stuck with their development, I guess. Stuck through, like, a lot of, I guess, tough training, I guess. And, you know, as long as you stick with them, they'll stick with you. I guess that's the philosophy there, I guess.
Sometimes.
And I guess more than likely, you know, like, he does what he's told, and, you know, they kind of like that, I'm sure. So, loyal employee helps sometimes. It covers up the talent not being there.
Yeah. Legado del Fantasma are some talented guys. I like them. They advance in the tournament. So next week on SmackDown, it'll be Legado versus Imperium and Hit Row versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that. Better be Sheamus and Drew McIntyre.
Again, this just looks, I mean, it's once they beat the Viking Raiders, it's like, well, clearly they're going to win the whole tournament. There's no team even close to strong as them. Like, this is not even a competition at this point. You could put all the teams against them, and they'd still win.
And Sheamus and Drew they already had a title shot at the Usos, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to get another one.
They love rematches. Like, we have to see, if you see one match, you got to see it again and again and again. So
I think they might win the next one.
Maybe, but it's going to take away from when Kevin and Sammy face the Usos. Like, it should be for the Undisputed when they face them and take those titles. It would mean more. But if they just take the SmackDown titles, it's not going to mean as much. Or take the Raw titles, sorry. Like, it won't mean as much.
You think that's going to be the match at Mania, Sammy and Kevin against the Usos for the belts?
Hopefully Undisputed. Because, like, it's just going to water down the whole tag division. Like, as we've seen on SmackDown tonight, like, there's not a lot of depth to this tag division. Like, sure, they have a bunch of teams. Doesn't mean they have a bunch of good teams. So
yeah.
There's maybe 4 or 5 good teams. That's about it.
Jade Cargill and her friend just won a match against 2 ladies, the Vanity Twins on Rampage. The hell was that?
I didn't catch their name, but I think it's Layla Gray, I think, is Jade's baddie.
Jade now 49-0. Almost at that 50.
You know, I mean, she lost the Battle Royal, so technically she's not undefeated, but I mean, I guess they don't kind of count Battle Royals, but whatever.
Anything else happened on SmackDown that was of note? Really?
Well, your buddy Bray Wyatt with the Firefly Funhouse is back. You love talking about that stuff.
I don't really, because it was bad. LA Knight won a squash match after doing a promo about Bray Wyatt, and then after the match, there was a Firefly Funhouse segment with Bray Wyatt talking to the puppets, and Uncle Howdy interrupted it with some nonsense, and Bray told LA Knight that he opened the door and whatever comes out is going to be his fault, and, you know, he created a monster or whatever. I mean, it was not good. Firefly Funhouse. I was hoping we were done with this. No, they brought it back. I was kind of hoping we were done with Bray Wyatt. They brought him back. Oh, well. You know, the Bray Wyatt return kind of started off interesting, and now it's just the same nonsense that he was doing before, and it's even worse somehow. Because it's like rehashed, and Like, it's not even fresh anymore. It's just kind of the same thing, and it's nonsensical. And like this feud with LA Knight, like what is that really? Come on. LA Knight is here to lose to Bray Wyatt in some sort of weirdo match. Like they're doing another one of these gimmick matches. And it's sponsored by Mountain Dew. You know?
You got the gimmick.
Yeah, I did. Mountain Dew Pitch Black is the name of the drink. And I actually found some. And I bought a couple bottles. I have not sampled it yet.
Wow. Surprise.
Nah. I'm saving it for the Rumble. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, but I got some because it was funny. I was like, oh, it's the Bray Wyatt drink. Let me get that. See what that's like. Because it's ridiculous to me that a match is called the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. But you know what? It's not that ridiculous because I watched the Firefly Funhouse on Smackdown tonight. It's really par for the course with this guy. Ugh. No more.
I think we also had Charlotte and Sonya continue their feud as well happen on SmackDown. And I'm guessing they're going to wrestle next week or at some point, it sounds like. I don't know. Like, it wasn't really resolved. Adam Pearce came out and, like, told Sonya to get out, and then Sonya cheap shotted Charlotte, and that was that. Like, there may have been a possibly a YouTube video posted out there. I'm not sure, but, like, that's just how it ended. So maybe they'll wrestle. I don't think it's going to happen at the Rumble, but that feud is not finished yet.
I think it might happen at the Rumble or on SmackDown next week. They really didn't give us any kind of information. Charlotte came out, called out Sonya. Sonya came out, said some things. Charlotte looked the other way. Sonya hit Charlotte and kind of ran away. Then Adam Pearce showed up, was like, oh, we're going to talk about this. And then they didn't have a follow-up. Sonya Deville, though, it's like, come on. Charlotte Flair. You got Charlotte Flair and then Sonya Deville. Like, I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, the Ronda rematch should have happened, but clearly Ronda just decides to disappear now, so I guess that's not happening whatsoever. So that's completely changed the way I saw the Rumble, because I saw Charlotte coming back winning the Rumble. Not going to happen now, obviously, so I guess we'll wait and see what happens now.
I don't know what Ronda's
Changes
doing.
my outlook. I think Ronda's probably just going to team up with Shayna now. Like, that's what she's going to do. Probably go for the tag titles. That's probably what her WrestleMania goal is going to be, I think.
Against who?
Well, whoever the tag champs would be at that point. Would it be Damage Control? Maybe. Or maybe another team. Maybe a team will finally upset them and they'd face Ronda and Shayna.
I think you need a strong babyface team to go up against Ronda and Shayna because they're going to come in as heels. And WWE doesn't have a strong babyface team in the women's division.
I mean, they could make one. It's not too hard. Raquel and somebody. There you go.
You're fine with Morgan. That.
Well, I would say Liv, but remember they had that match like a week or two ago, right? And they Liv like slapped her in the face, so
doesn't mean anything.
Maybe not so much. Well, of course, they could just be friends again next week, whatever. But I'm thinking maybe they do somebody else.
They do a lot of tag teams where they start off fighting and then eventually they're a tag team. The Bar.
They do.
The Banger Bros.
True. Right. I mean, Liv would make sense because of the feud with Ronda and Shayna. Like, they would kind of tie in. But I don't know. I have to wait and see.
All right. Raw this week, we had the Usos and Solo Sikoa doing a promo with the Judgment Day to start off the show.
That's a bad start.
A lot of Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, some bad jokes, too, about, like, they don't know about hard time, the Usos and all that. Like, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, they had to pan away, like, when the Usos were mocking Dom, because Dom was, like, couldn't stop laughing. which obviously threw off his character. He's supposed to be tough, whatever. So they had a pan to the side, whatever. So Dom, you don't see Dom like smirking his ass off. Great actor. He is, can't stay in character whatsoever. But people love this guy because he says these cool, stupid lines they give him.
People love this guy? Who loves this guy?
Apparently, I guess. I don't know who loves this guy, but I keep saying like, oh, Dominic Mysterio, like, so good. Like what?
What?
I know. Like the best thing about him is that everyone wants to see him get it beat up. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like he's got good heat for that, being like a whiny little, boy, but that's about it.
I don't even really want to see him get beat up because that entails him wrestling a match. I don't want to see that.
But he doesn't really wrestle. He pretty much just gets dominated for the most part, and then just tags in, Priest. So
that's the match too. They're getting a tag title shot, right? Dominic and Damian Priest against the Usos. I think Monday night on Raw.
Yeah, that's the match. Yeah, because I believe Finn is because Finn's selling the whole rib thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest get a tag team title shot. I don't think they're winning. I think if anybody's taking one of the belts away from the Usos, it's going to be Sheamus and Drew, not Dominic and Priest.
Right. Yeah, that makes more sense. But I mean, stranger things have happened. They love to push Judgment Day. I mean, I feel like Raw is almost overrun with Judgment Day and like Damage Control. So I wouldn't be like too shocked if they pulled this off. I mean, it's a big Raw. They want a title change. I don't see the U.S. title changing hands, so it's not impossible.
I could see Bobby taking it from Austin Theory. Why not?
He's already done this. Like we've been down this road before. Like he's just gonna beat him again for the U.S. title. Yeah. I mean, they could, but wow, like it's not really progressing much. In July, I'll beat him for the U.S. title, and then in January, I'll beat him for the U.S. title.
Why not?
A lot's changed. I mean, again, like I said, stranger things have happened, but I to me, it doesn't add much, Like, I feel Theory's doing great right now as U.S. champion. Don't end that run. Unless maybe they want to finally commit to Lashley doing the Hurt Business, but that makes him a heel then.
I think they are going to put Lashley back with the Hurt Business. I mean, you saw this week, Omos was helping Bobby Lashley, right?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of. He helped him.
He didn't, like, outright, like, slap hands with him, all that. And it seemed like Lashley didn't really want his help, whatever. But
yeah. But that's the thing. MVP wants to reunite the Hurt Business. He wants to bring Bobby and Shelton and Cedric back together. And then Bobby's like, nah, I'm not so into it. We're cool, MVP, because you got me my job back with WWE. Because I got fired by Adam Pearce, but I don't really want to reunite the Hurt Business. Yeah, suspended, whatever. But then there's a 6-pack challenge on Raw, right? It's Seth, Miz, Dolph, Finn, and Bobby. And Omos and MVP come out during the match. This is the main event. Omos and MVP come out. Bobby doesn't know what to make of it. He thinks maybe they're coming to attack me because I turned down their offer for the Hurt Business, right? Like Bobby looked a little worried for a minute, right? And then Omos grabs Seth, tosses him off the apron, and then he distracts Baron Corbin, which allows Bobby Lashley to spear Corbin and eliminate him. Yeah, Corbin was in this match too. And then Theory went and hit Lashley with the U.S. title belt, and Omos went to chokeslam Theory, but then Seth Rollins curb stomped Omos out of revenge, and then Seth clotheslined Theory over the barricade, got back in the ring, and then MVP jumped on the apron, distracted Seth, which allowed Bobby to hit the spear to get the win and win the whole 6-pack challenge. So Omos and MVP helped Bobby eliminate Corbin and eliminate Seth. And Omos was going after Seth. So I think MVP is trying to tell Bobby, look, I know you didn't want to be with me when I just had Cedric and Shelton, but I also have Omos as backup for you. And that's a pretty formidable group, with Bobby Lashley as a centerpiece, MVP as the manager, Cedric and Shelton as the tag team, and then Omos as the muscle backing up Bobby Lashley. I mean, that's a solid group.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do it.
I agree.
I mean, they're teasing it. I think they're going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's possible. I could see it happen, but will they pull it right now? I'm not sure about that. Wait and see. One thing, though, in that match, which I thought was kind of off, was the fact that I think Seth, spat water in Theory's face, and Theory just sat there and did nothing about it. That didn't make really any sense whatsoever, given the fact that there was just rampant interference later on by Theory as well, and everyone was fine with that. But at that point in time, Theory couldn't do anything to Seth, who just spat in his face. That made Theory look like crap. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. No, you're right. But Theory's kind of a cowardly guy.
Yeah, but then later on, he's interfering and attacking,
when they're not looking. You only attack when you're not looking, when your back's turned. He's a coward. Maybe? I don't know. You're right. You're right.
You're stretching it, but fine, sure.
Yeah. No. I know what you mean. It was a 6-pack challenge. I guess it was no disqualification, but it didn't seem clear.
Yeah, well, it's no DQ because it's a 6-way, because there's no rules in anything that's a 3-way and above, I guess. So.
Yeah, but this is an elimination match.
Right.
So if you break the rules, you just get disqualified. You're eliminated.
Well, but I guess even if a triple threat was elimination, there still could be no DQ, though. And which they said there was no DQ for this.
You can have a triple threat match, triple threat elimination match with disqualifications. I mean you don't see it, but why not?
It, yeah.
Unused gimmicks.
For some reason, they've had the whole setup where it's if you're going to do 4, 5-way, 6 ways, it's always no DQ. Just because it's easier for them to book that.
That's true. What did you think of the 6-pack challenge that main evented Raw?
I mean, extremely long.
Yeah, dragged.
Some of it was all right, and some of it just felt like it was going on forever. Again, my main problem was that whole thing with Theory. That he sounded fantastic on commentary, but then the whole thing with Seth kind of killed a lot of what he was talking about. But a lot of good false finishes, I thought. Whoever put that all together, it was really well done. All the eliminations was really good, actually. Usually when you have a match like that, it's elimination, but they were kind of spaced out pretty decently, and it built up quite nicely, I thought. Obviously you have a lot of good wrestlers in there, so it kind of helps a lot, but this was definitely the best thing we saw on Raw, for sure, I think.
I didn't love it. It might have been the best thing on Raw, but I don't know. It's too long. I just don't care. I don't care who's getting a shot at Austin Theory for the U.S. title, And it's going to be Seth or Bobby, so it's whatever. We've been down this road so many times. I'm over it.
Oh, I definitely thought it was going to be Seth. I didn't think it was going to be Bobby, so I was kind of surprised by that.
I figured it was going to be either or, and I didn't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Solo Sikoa beat Mustafa Ali. Kevin Owens had a stunner on Solo after the match. Street Profits beat Cedric and Shelton. MVP tried to distract the ref to help his guys, but it didn't work. Street Profits still win. Becky Lynch cut a promo in the ring with Bayley. And Becky was calling Bayley a Karen. And Bayley was acting like she didn't know what that was. She's like, my name's Bayley, not Karen. And it's come on. You know what she's saying. And they tried.
There was a lot of dead points in that promo. It's I don't know if they got lost or something, but Like nothing was happening.
It was not good.
Well, the idea what they were trying to do with the whole confrontation and bringing up the past and all that, like that was good. Just how they got there wasn't very good. The
Yeah.
setup to it was bad.
Like it had some moments, you know. Becky's like, "Oh, back in 2015, I ran NXT." Bailey's talking about NXT, and Becky ran to the main roster and took her spot. And they're talking about how Bailey was in NXT and Becky was on the main roster. And you know, Becky was saying, "I was never supposed to be the big star, and you were given a big push, Bailey, and whatever," you know. And they had,
Hmm.
you know, some material there, but it's like there was maybe say there was 10 minutes for that promo. I think it was a little shorter, but you know, say 10 minutes of it. They had 2 good minutes and 8 weird minutes that didn't kind of click. You know, like most of it was awkward. They had a moment there where they had a couple lines each that worked, but it just like it started off weird and then it fell apart. You know, like it was a bit of a middle that was good, but
Like I don't know, maybe they just forgot their lines or something, or they had a different kind of setup. Because they were talking to, I don't know if you noticed, they're talking in the ring a little bit. I don't know if she said like, I think Becky said like, am I supposed to say something right now, or what am I supposed? I don't know if she said what's my line, but it
yeah.
felt like there was some sort of communication problem or something they were trying to go through in the promo during the promo.
Yeah, they didn't seem sure where they were going. Seemed a little lost. It was no good, which is disappointing. You know, because these are 2 of your top talents. You're trying to build a steel cage match for Raw. I don't think that promo got you hyped for the match.
Well,
I don't know.
not me, but people will like it regardless because it's Becky and Bailey is one of the biggest matches they can do for the women, so that's going to sell regardless. Becky's one of their top stars, so.
Yeah, but you know that promo was not great. Omos beat Elias. Damian Priest and Dominic beat the Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy just they lose too much for the amount of talent that they have. But I guess the way it is.
It's weird because they just turned face, it seems. Like they're now being cheered a lot, I noticed.
They're
And
good.
like, yeah, they're good. And it's like, well, if you just turn them face, like maybe they shouldn't always lose. Like that's an idea. Like they'll actually get over more if you put them over a couple times, like instead of
Yeah.
just jobbing them out all the time.
I swear I don't know what WWE's looking for sometimes. Because I see a team like Alpha Academy that seems to have everything going for them, and they're just like, nah, not you. I don't know why. It's got to be a backstage political thing. I don't get it. Because I see them on TV, and it's like, man, they could talk, they could wrestle, they got a cool look. Like, Otis has money. At one point, they gave him money in the bank. Like, they really had big plans for Otis, and then they're like, nah. What happened? What did he do?
Well, I think with a lot of guys, they just expect, well, they'll evolve into something more or something, or they'll get even more over. And I think the problem what happened with Otis was the fact that they didn't really give him much, except they had, remember the Mandy Rose thing going on with him? And I don't know, like historically, it's kind of show like when you put like a guy with like a hot like valet or something, the valet gets over, but the guy not so much because like the male audience like resents the guy. I don't know if you caught that or not, but that's the way it's kind of seemed to me.
I felt like they were rooting for Otis because he's not the guy you'd expect with Mandy Rose, and just like, go for it, Otis. You know, Dolph Ziggler was like trying to interfere with all that. I thought they were rooting for Otis there. I thought
I think
that's
a
part
little
of what
bit,
helped Otis get over.
but I don't think he was like superstar, like getting the crazy cheers and reactions over. He was like, yeah, maybe a little bit of sympathy, like you said, but it wasn't like huge over. And I think that was the huge problem with it. And plus, they probably just didn't think his wrestling was like main event level good.
Yeah, it's fine, but I don't know. Him and Gable are a good tag team, but I thought him and Tucky were a good tag team too. Whatever happened to Tucky? Heavy Machinery, right?
Well, once
Otis
they
and
broke
Tucky.
them up, I mean,
Yeah.
like Tucker didn't last too long in WWE period, so I don't think they saw a lot of faith in him whatsoever.
Apparently not. Mia Yim beat Io Sky on Raw. And then Bianca Belair with the promo with Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss came out and said, well, what the hell? Oh, my God.
You said Alexa.
I
That's
said
your
it.
own fault.
All right, so Bliss came out, right? Shut up. Okay, Alexa, stop. God.
Hey, well, Alexa listened to you.
Yeah, she did. I got to make that stop. I don't know. I'm going to unplug it or something. I don't know. So Bliss came out, and she's like, Bianca, you fear me because you don't know what to expect from me. Ooh. This Alexa Bliss character is so bad.
You can't unplug her, unfortunately.
God, I wish we could just get rid of this character. So bad. And then Bianca challenged her to a match at the Rumble, and Alexa Bliss is like, yeah, all right. And then they brawled into the crowd, and they're fighting. And Bianca has Alexa Bliss up on her shoulders. And then on an entranceway, there's like eerie smoke, and who's there? It's Uncle Howdy! And Bianca freezes out of fear or, I don't know, paranormal activity. And Alexa Bliss drops off her shoulders, hits Bianca with a DDT on the floor.
Yeah, that happened. I remember.
Yeah, it happened.
I saw it.
It happened. Unbelievable.
I mean, the brawling was kind of interesting. Like the weird clubbing that Bianca was doing on the outside. It's very odd. I don't know if you caught that. The windmill just like blah, blah,
yeah.
like that. I was just like, okay, that's fine. Like, I don't see many people do that whatsoever, but whatever, you know. Everyone has their own brawling stance, I guess. I don't know if she's ever been in a fight, actually, but whatever.
Yeah. Everything between these two has been terrible. All this Bliss and Bianca stuff has been horrible. And these promos that Bliss has been cutting, oh my God. So bad. Uncle Howdy showing up. Come on, man. Come on. So bad. Wow. They're going to have a match at the Rumble now, which will be trash. Trash.
You just got to get through that. Then, you know, Bianca can move on, right? You hope, anyways, that, you know, Alexa's not going to win the title, right?
I hope not. I don't know.
I mean,
they seem to be running a big angle with her and Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. Like, something's going on.
And Bray Wyatt will be there in his own match, so.
Well, it's not his match. It's Mountain Dew's match.
Well, whatever. I mean, I imagine there's going to be some sort of Firefly Funhouse activity or something that's going to go down.
I could see Bliss winning because what the hell? Why not? I hope she doesn't, though, because Bianca and Rhea Ripley seems like the match to do at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title.
Well, just because it's not going to be Charlotte win the Rumble, there's no other choices, really, besides Rhea when I think about it. I mean, I guess maybe Liv, but, like, that's really, like, a long shot, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I could see her, you know, because she said she wants to be number one, right? And then go all the way and, like, and maybe they'll give her number one and trying to go all the way, but she isn't going to win it, I don't think.
No way. Rhea Ripley and The Rock were my picks to win the Rumbles this year. Made that
good.
A couple months ago, and that's what I'm going with. It's been my pick for a while. So I think my favorite thing on Raw this week was seeing Bronson Reed just beat the shit out of Tozawa in that match. It was violent. I liked it. I like Bronson Reed. He's a guy that they brought back that I'm pleased with. I'm like, yeah, this guy. I like this guy.
Okay.
He's good. He hits hard.
Yeah,
He's
good,
big.
but
He's good.
you always complain about these matches that are like kind of too predictable. I mean, this match was like super predictable. It's like,
Well, yeah.
well, this is clearly just showcase Bronson Reed. Like, there's no like reason to get excited for this. Like, okay, he did some cool moves, but like, can you do these cool moves to everybody on the roster? Like, we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, maybe not, but it was a good showcase. Like
Yeah.
it looked cool. I liked it. I like him. I think he's gonna be good in WWE. Yeah. So you got Raw 30th anniversary coming up Monday night. You heard Michael Cole and Michael Cole mentioned the passing of Jay Briscoe. You saw Kevin Owens with a J armband. You saw the Viking Raiders with a Dem Boys armband. Of course, the wrestling world mourning this week the loss of Jay Briscoe. Just a terrible tragedy. Car crash, a head-on collision. Jay Briscoe, part of the great Briscoe Brothers tag team in Ring of Honor and all over the world. Champions everywhere they went. One of the best tag teams in the world today. One of the best tag teams of the past 20 years. And 38 years old, Jay Briscoe, riding in his truck with his two daughters in the back. Head-on collision with another driver. That driver passed away. He passed away. And his daughters are, in serious condition in the hospital. Just an unbelievable tragedy. So sad. I woke up in the morning. I was like, I saw Jay Briscoe died. I was like, what happened? Car accident, man. It's scary. It hits home. And it's just devastating. It's devastating for anybody to lose their life like that. But of course, Jay Briscoe, a fantastic pro wrestler, a guy that touched many, many people in the pro wrestling business, a guy that's entertained us for many, many years. It's devastating. Devastating. I'm still in shock. Like, what the hell? You just saw him wrestle that match with his brother against the FTR, that dog collar match. The last Ring of Honor pay-per-view was like a few weeks ago. Prime of his career. The world in front of him. 3 young children. 38 years old. It's devastating. So, definitely the thoughts with the whole family. The Pugh family. Ugh. Devastating. Rest in peace to Jay Briscoe. Terrible, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say. The guy was a tremendous wrestler. Him and his brother, fantastic. That Briscoe Brothers tag team, if not for like a tweet that people were upset about, that he tweeted a long time ago that he's apologized for, if not for that tweet, or I don't know how many tweets he did, it's not about that. But if not for that, he would have been, those guys would have been signed to a major wrestling company like WWE or AEW a long time ago, because they are far and away one of the best tag teams in the world and have been for years. For years. Those matches with FTR, some of the best wrestling matches you'll see. So, I mean, those guys were Ring of Honor. As far as I'm concerned, the Briscoes, when you think of Ring of Honor, you think of the Briscoes. When you think of a reason to tune into Ring of Honor, you know what I mean? Over the years, it's like, what's Ring of Honor doing? What are the Briscoes doing?
Yeah.
Because whatever they did was like, ooh, that's going to be fire. I remember seeing Briscoes against Claudio and Chris Hero. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
An incredible tag team. Incredible. And that's going to be his legacy. Just that tremendous body of work. I don't know what his brother does now. I don't know how he, picks up the pieces and goes on. I don't know if he continues to wrestle at all. I don't know. I cannot imagine. Your brother, you grow up, you wrestle with him, you hit the heights of pro wrestling, and then you lose him. I don't know what you do. You're a tag team. It's your brother, and he's gone. Just like that. I don't know what Mark Briscoe's going to do, but my thoughts are with him and his whole family. It's devastating. Shocking loss. And it's I think it's worse because, you know, it's just so unpredictable. You never would have seen this coming. Sometimes a lot of wrestlers that die, and it's very sad, but a lot of times when wrestlers die, it's because of some sort of abuse that they've put on their own bodies, right, over the years, be it drugs or whatever.
Right.
But this was not that. This was not that at all. This is a car accident, and could happen to anybody. I understand he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Definitely a reminder to always wear a seatbelt. But I don't know if the seatbelt would have helped him. A crash like that, I don't know. I don't know, man. Terrible.
It's a horrible tragedy, and it's one of those things where it could happen to anybody. You never know when it could happen, that kind of thing. Just out of nowhere, boom, it's over. And to me, like, the greatest tragedy is the fact that his daughters had that major surgery, both of them. Like, I think both of them suffered back injuries and had to get surgery for their backs and neck as well. Like, it's questionable if they'll even both walk again. That's really heartbreaking stuff, man.
I did see an update tonight that one of his daughters has regained the feeling in her legs. So
well, that's good.
It's a positive sign. But yeah, definitely the thoughts and the prayers with them, because when the mother, Jay Briscoe's wife, Jay Briscoe's wife, they've got a son, a younger son that wasn't in the car, and she's got to somehow pick up the pieces. Her two daughters are all messed up in the hospital. Her husband is dead. Devastating. Devastating. Feel for them tremendously. And the whole wrestling world, when something like this happens, it's nice that there is that wrestling community, that wrestling world that you see. Everybody just takes a moment, You saw it across the board. Saw the Young Bucks wearing armbands on Dynamite,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Punk posted something too as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole wrestling world, You're seeing people, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, all sorts of people from all across, talking about the impact that Jay Briscoe left on their lives and their careers. Tragedy. Not since Brody Lee have we had such a tragedy in pro wrestling, Very sad.
Well, the sad thing is, I'm sure if you think about it, there might be a couple other ones that we're forgetting at this point, but there's,
Of course.
Fortunately in wrestling,
yeah,
there's been a lot of tragedies, sadly.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's good to see, the wrestling community kind of stand up for them in a sense. I don't know if you saw what Kevin Owens did. I think he donated $10,000 to this family.
That's nice.
Very, very classy move.
Yeah.
They wrestled each other quite a bit in Ring of Honor, so I'm sure they had quite the friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of pro wrestlers that are fortunate enough to have that kind of money will support the family and will help out. And it's very nice to hear that Kevin Owens is one of those guys. I'm not surprised, though. He seems like a good guy. Sad stuff. Hey, you know what else is sad? You want to talk about tragedies? Vince McMahon this week settled a lawsuit with Rita Chatterton the referee that accused
Right.
him of rape in the 80s,
Right.
settled with her. Paid her money.
Yeah.
Another settlement.
So, right. But this
I
was
mean,
before he came back, though.
a settlement is not necessarily an admission of guilt, but
Well, you saw what Jerry McDevitt said, right?
what? Vince's
This
lawyer.
was mainly, this is lawyer. That this was done just to mainly get it out of the way. So it's no longer an issue, no longer a problem. You know, you can believe Jerry whatever you want to believe, but that's what Jerry's saying. So
Yeah, it's no longer a problem. If Vince possibly raped this woman, now she can't come back and sue anymore because he has paid her money.
well, I believe this was just for like harassment issues, was it not? Like, it wasn't the actual.
I don't know exactly the charges, but come on, you know the story,
Because
right?
I feel with rape, you'd go to jail for that.
I think you could sue in a civil court for that.
Okay.
I do believe in the United States you could do that. Right? Because like I know from OJ, right? OJ, he didn't go to jail for the murders, but then the Goldman family, they sued OJ in civil court, and he had to pay them like lots of money. I think he got around paying them the money, but they did get some OJ money for the murder.
Yeah.
He was like found guilty in the civil court of the murder, but in the criminal court, he got off. So I think Vince is not being charged criminally. It's just a civil matter. And instead of going to court, he settled out of court. He paid her a big chunk of money, and that's it. I don't know. It's not necessarily an admission of guilt, but makes you wonder. I mean, this guy. This is not a good guy. You know?
Well, welcome to the wrestling world. Like, there's not a lot of good guys in wrestling,
Yeah, but
especially promoters.
Yeah, but Vince really did not keep his hands to himself. Like, he had a real problem. Has a real problem. The amount of payoffs that he had to give to all these women throughout the years for all these things that he's done. Like, really, dude? What's happening in your world? What is going on? You know? It's gross. No wonder his daughter quit the company. His daughter, who has 3 daughters, is like, I don't want to be around this shit that my dad's into. Potential rapes and shit, you know? Let's get out of here. Ugh.
Well, her husband's still there, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, for now. Till Vince sells the company and kicks him out. That was something. Vince paying her off. Wow. Another payoff. Vinnie Mac.
There might be more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, of course not. Vince is probably doing something right now that he's going to have to pay off a woman for. For sure.
I don't know if he's that busy. Like,
oh, he's busy.
Maybe. Who knows?
He's busy.
Or
what do you think Vince was doing during his semi-retirement? I think he was sexually harassing full time. I think he took sexual harassment as a full-time job. He wasn't running the WWE, so what else does he do? The little we know about Vince McMahon is he likes to sexually harass, potentially rape, and also run a wrestling company. That's about all I know about him.
The main thing is he's a workaholic, so he was probably just thinking about the comeback, which
And
is
a
already in
sexaholic.
progress.
He's addicted to sexahol.
Well, some people got to keep Blue Chew in business, so I'm sure he does that.
Are you saying Vince cannot maintain a natural erection? He needs enhancement?
I'm saying you got to, use any help you can get at 77. Like,
Shame on him. If you, you can't be sexually harassing if you can't even get it up. What are you doing? Get it together. Your penis doesn't work. It's time to give up, retire. Get out the game, Vince. You're done. Your dick doesn't work. I think his dick probably works, though. That's why he's harassing so much. Maybe it's a power thing. I don't know. He seems like a dick. He seems like a big dick. I don't know, man. The more this shit comes out with Vince, the more I'm like, yeah. And he's like back in charge. Like, come on. I don't like it.
Well, you're not going to like, when he comes back on television, he's going to get an amazing pop. Like, it's going to be huge. You're not going to like that.
I'd boo him.
You would, but not
at this point.
Everyone else
would
give him a standing ovation.
You got to check yourself if you're giving a standing ovation to Vince McMahon at this point, given all we know about him. It's hard to forgive. I've forgiven a lot with Vince over the years, but this stuff, it's like, I don't know. It's a little much for me. I'm done with him.
It's tough because, like, a lot of people look at Vince as like he's the one who kept wrestling afloat. Like he's the one who made wrestling what it is today. So a lot of people look at Vince as like he is wrestling.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have a job without him. So
sure. They wouldn't be wrong saying that. I mean, Vince is a, very important figure in the history of pro wrestling. But as a man, as a human being, doesn't seem too good.
Well,
seems like
a lot of people say the same thing.
Trash guy.
Same thing about Hulk Hogan too. Like,
whoa.
Important figure in wrestling, but as a human being, highly questionable.
Yeah. I think you could say that for a lot of the important figures in wrestling. Stone Cold Steve Austin, important figure in wrestling, as a human being, questionable.
I feel like The Rock is pretty clean, though. I don't know about that. Like,
you know who else is clean? You know who else is admirable? Always our hero, Bret the Hitman Hart. Perfect.
In
record.
Our eyes. Unfortunately, other people's eyes, not so much.
Well, maybe not his ex-wives. They might not be too happy with him. But I don't think he was harassing anybody. He was just cheating on his wives on the road because he was Bret Hart, and the women couldn't keep their hands off of him. Did you see him? Beautiful. Bret Hart in 1992. What woman could resist?
Well, at least Bret was honest about it.
Yeah, in his book, very honest about it.
Yeah, very honest about it. So,
also honest about how much he liked to eat bananas. That always struck me about the book. I think there was a couple times where Bret's like, "Yeah, I went to the beach, ate some bananas." How many bananas are you eating, man? Like half monkey.
Potassium's good for you.
I mean, I like a banana as much as the next guy, but are you gonna go to just go to the beach, sit down with like 5 bananas, just start munching away? How many bananas you eat in one sitting? I'd say 1, 2 would be a big max for me. 2 would be like I'm going banana crazy. I'm going bananas. But I'd say 1 banana. If I'm gonna eat a banana, I'm gonna have 1. And I do eat bananas. It's a staple in my house. We always have bananas. Who doesn't like a banana? I just like Bret, just the idea of Bret. I think he had a bag of weed. He was in Hawaii. He's like, I had a bag of weed and some bananas. So I went to the beach. I was like, what? What kind of time are you having, man? I liked it, though. I like the idea. John, how many bananas you eating in one sitting? More than 2?
Oh, 3 or 4 at least, I think.
Oh, my God. Well, you're huge, man. You're like Bret Hart size. Yeah. You're bigger than Bret, so I guess.
Speaking of Bret, he's opening a bar in Calgary. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's his son. It's one of his sons just trying to make a business off his dad, which is fine.
I was going to say, I thought he lived in, Hawaii. I'm surprised he still lives in Calgary, but.
I don't know. I think he lives in Calgary, but I think I don't know if it's his son or somebody. It's some guy who's trying to make a name off Brett's name. I don't think it's Brett waking up one day and being like, you know what I want to do? Open up a bar. I think it's somebody that came to Brett and they're like, hey, we got some money. You want to use your name and make a Brett bar? He's like, yeah, all right. I'll get a cut. Maybe he's an investor, but like, I don't know. I don't think you're going to go to this bar and like see Brett bartending. Maybe you will once in a while. Hogan's got a bar, right? In Florida?
Sports bar or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Hogan owns a bar.
Of them, doesn't he, or something?
I don't know.
Heard it's kind of a weird place, though.
I would go just to see if Hogan's there and buy some Hogan merch, brother. Dynamite this week. Orange Cassidy beat Jay Lethal to retain the All-Atlantic title. And it was all sorts of stuff with Satnam Singh and the Best Friends. Why did Sanjay Dutt stop Satnam Singh from attacking the Best Friends and also stop Jeff Jarrett from attacking the Best Friends with the guitar? I didn't get it.
Well, apparently the stipulation on this match was they couldn't interfere during the match because then Sanjay would get fired. So that's why they only had a ticket at ringside. And that's why they were at ringside, right? Because they weren't actually at ringside. So that's why they were there. And I guess, I wasn't aware of this, but I guess after the match they weren't allowed to attack, I guess. He would also get fired if they attacked after the match. I wasn't aware of that stipulation, but apparently that was also added to it. So they weren't allowed to attack him whatsoever.
It was a weird way to open up Dynamite. I was confused by a lot of it.
Like, I didn't mind the actual wrestling with Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal. I find Jay Lethal is really good. Like, he's really, to me, like one of the underrated guys right now in AEW. But, like, this match was way overbooked for the first match. Like, so much was going on. There's a lot, like, Jeff with the guitar trying to hide it from the ref. And then Danhausen stole it. Like, there's a lot of shenanigans going on. Opening match as well. Like, I get it with Orange Cassidy. You have to do all that kind of stuff. This match should have been 9 o'clock or something. Like, maybe even the main event. Because, like, I don't think this match should have started the show.
I think Top Flight Young Bucks would have been a better opener. I like that match.
That, even Darby Allin and Kushida. Because, like, at least with Kushida, like, I think he's got a bigger fan base because he was in WWE. So, like, unlike a lot of guys that just come in for these one-offs, like, at least people somewhat know who he is. And although it's a one-off for the opening match, some people would be invested because, like, well, at least I know that guy. So you could get people with that.
Yeah.
But this match where it's like, it's kind of confusing. It's like, what the heck did I just watch here?
Yeah.
Like, to start the show. Not the best. But
just so many guys ringside. There was so many cuts to like, here's this guy and here's this guy, and they have tickets to ringside. They're sitting in the front row. It's like, what are the Best Friends doing there? But Danhausen was like, he was ringside
because he was the ticket guy. I don't know if you noticed that. He was also like checking their tickets.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous.
It's not stupid.
Like, it was all dumb. There was so much dumb stuff there. I was like, eh. And then you had Top Flight and the Young Bucks, and it was a good match. They did their thing. You expected the Young Bucks to win, but they lost to Top Flight. It was solid.
Well, it was solid in the sense of, like, it was really cool, like, moves they pulled off, really neat new stuff they did. In terms of selling, I don't know if the selling was very good, but that's a typical kind of high-flying match you're going to see from them. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, it was cool in terms of innovation, yes.
And seeing Top Flight get the win, too. Bit of a surprise.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It's just because, like, the Bucks are the trios champs now, right? So it's like, well, they don't need to win tag team, so it kind of makes sense.
The Ass Boys cut a promo about the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed came out. And they did a bit of a promo, and they were going to fight, but then Billy Gunn stopped them from fighting. And he says, next week we're going to have family therapy. which sounds like some sort of bad promo segment with the Ass Boys and the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn trying to be a mediator with them. I don't know. This was not great.
Well, I guess we're building towards them wrestling each other, I guess, at the pay-per-view, but since we got to kill a couple of weeks, this is called doing that, I guess. So,
The Ass Boys. Hangman Page was interviewed backstage by Renee talking about beating Moxley last week. I like the promo from Hangman. I thought it was good. It felt real. He says he's got some fences that have been needing mending for a while, and he's going to go, maybe fix his relationship with certain people, like the Bucks, possibly. But then he also kind of asked Renee, like, how's John really doing? Is he okay, Hangman showing a lot of respect for John Moxley in the promo. I thought it was solid.
I thought it was kind of just misleading. It's like, it's awkward. Like, okay, I'm going to mend some fences. Like, what are you going to do exactly? Like, you have to kind of be like that, vague. Like, you can't just straight up say what you're going to do. Like,
find out next week. You got to keep watching.
Are we gonna find out next week? Because I don't see Hangman like booked for next week.
Well, maybe not next week, but the week after. I don't know. I think it's all leading towards Hangman rejoining the Bucks, reuniting with the Elite. That's what it seems like.
What does that do? What does that really accomplish?
I don't know. Or maybe he's got to fix his relationship with the Dark Order. I'm not sure. I don't know.
See, this is it. Like, what does this really do? Like, I don't know if it really adds anything too. Like, he's gonna face Moxley again, more than likely. So mending fences with people, like, I don't know what this really adds for him.
I think it's just another wrinkle in the fabric of the Hangman character. It's just, stuff's happening. This is just a first kind of wave in that direction. I'm interested.
I found it interesting that they put over Kushida by having them show the clip of him tapping out Hangman. I was like, well, that's pretty nice of trying to get him over like that. I'm surprised they'd show Hangman in that kind of light, but they did. It's a good way of showing Kushida, I guess.
Briefly. I mean, it happened.
Briefly.
Right?
It happened like 2 or 3 times they showed that clip, I think. Like, they started the show with that. Right for the main event it happened, too, I think. I think it was another time as well. Like, wow. That's a big deal, like, to show that.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think it was a big deal because I remember when it was happening, Hangman was kind of a mid-carder in New Japan. I think it's just more interesting to show how far he's come.
Right. But I think it was good for Kushida to be like, yeah, well, I did this.
And Kushida got most of the offense in that match. It was mostly Kushida beating up Darby, working his arm. And then Darby was able to get one of those little pin moves that he does. I don't know what he calls it. Nice little pin thing. Pin Kushida, retain the title in the main event. It was decent. It wasn't my favorite match on the card. My favorite match on the card was Bryan Danielson, of course. But I thought Darby and Kushida was good.
Well, I mean, Danielson, Bandido, I think for a lot of people, that was almost like a dream match in a sense. So it was kind of hard to compete with that.
Yeah. I don't think anything competed with that this week from WWE or AEW. I think that Bryan Danielson Bandido match was the best thing that we saw in pro wrestling. Bryan beating Bandido, of course, with the running knee. Excellent match. Just excellent. Bryan Danielson, he's the best.
He's good. It's just kind of too bad that they haven't really gave Bandido anything since they signed him. Like, I mean, he had some good matches, but he hasn't got any wins though, so it's kind of odd. And like, it seems like he's mainly for ROH. Like, I think every time they kind of show him, I think he has like an ROH kind of banner kind of thing. So I guess he's mainly just going to be an ROH wrestler, which I feel like he should be an AEW guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what ROH is. Do they have shows?
Eventually, at some point, I would think.
I don't know. So why not just keep doing stuff with Bandido in AEW? He's very talented. We're not seeing him a lot. And that match with Danielson was fantastic. Ricky Starks beat Jake Hager. They're pushing Starks. Something's happening with Starks. I don't know. It's all right.
I mean, the match wasn't anything special, but I mean, it got the job done for Ricky in a sense. So
Yeah.
kept him going strong. So that was it. Now we're building towards a tag match, I think, next week.
Yeah. Jericho and Sammy. I think. Because if Daniel Garcia beat Action Andretti in the main event tonight, he would have been Jericho's partner, but he lost to Andretti, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So it'll be Sammy and Jericho against Ricky Starks and Action Andretti.
That's I believe the match. Yes.
Right. And MJF offered Brian Cage money to break Bryan Danielson's arm, and Bryan Danielson will be wrestling Brian Cage on Dynamite. MJF cut a promo as well on the screen talking about how he's ready for the 60-minute match, and he's going to take his mask off and no more joking around, and he's going to be real serious at Revolution, and it's going to be bad news for Bryan Danielson. Okay. We're kind of at the point now with Bryan Danielson and MJF and the build to the match where it's like, we know the match is happening. We're into it. The promos, everything that needs to be said has been said, and we're like a month out. So, over a month. So the promos now are kind of like, yeah, all right, cool. MJF is like, I can wrestle 60 minutes. I'm going to be really mean. It's like, yeah, all right. I believe you. Get to the match.
Well, it's a feud, right? I mean, you can still have some action segments in those moments we have with them, right? Instead of just promos. So wait for the build, like enjoy the ride while you have it here, because how long will Bryan Danielson be in this main event scene? Probably after the pay-per-view he's done. So enjoy this. Probably not going to have it for a while after this.
Yeah, well, he's having really good matches. He had a great match with Takeshita last week. He had a really great match with Bandido this week. He's going to have a great match with Brian Cage next week. He's having great matches. And the match with MJF, 60 minutes, is going to be great. Because Bryan Danielson could wrestle a broom for 60 minutes and have a great match. So, with MJF, it's going to be fantastic. I look forward to that. I think the biggest news that came out of Dynamite this week was Tony Storm beating Willow Nightingale after a distraction from Saraya on the apron. Saraya? I never know.
Saraya.
And then Saraya and Tony Storm attacked Willow after the match. Healing out big time. Full heel turn this week from Tony Storm and Saraya. Saraya?
I just told you it was Saraya. I don't know why he went back.
Because I can never keep it together. Saraya.
Yeah.
And Tony Storm attacked Willow. Hikaru Shida was there. She looked surprised, like, what are you guys doing? Because she's still friends with them, I guess. But not really. And then Ruby Soho showed up. And Tony and Saraya.
There you go.
Tony and Saraya left the ring. But Tony and Saraya, they're like full-on heels now. And they seem to be feuding with Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale, which is cool.
Well, they're doing the whole gimmick of like, these AEW girls haven't been anywhere. We know what you're supposed to know kind of thing. Pretty much doing the whole like, we're from WWE, we know better than you kind of gimmick, That seems to be what they're going to run with.
Yeah.
I mean, they potentially could pull off like a female like NWO. Like they have enough people to do this. Especially if they bring in Mercedes like as their Hulk Hogan kind of figure, like it could be pretty big.
You could get Ruby to turn on Willow and join them.
Yes, of course.
And, as a babyface faction to face them, you finally turn Britt Baker and friends. Britt and Jamie Hayter, Could work.
I mean, it's pretty much just, WWE versus non-WWE, but I mean, whatever. I mean, that kind of worked for WCW, so just do it for the women instead.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I'd be into that.
I don't know if they completely thought this through. I think they're just going off reactions because, I mean, we've noticed the last couple of weeks where it's like, I mean, the way the promos are and the way that people are reacting, like the faces are the heels and the heels are the faces. So like they figured out like, well, we'll just, flip flop this because I mean it's flip flopped anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they've fleshed out exactly where they're going with this yet.
A faction would be good. A big group. Tony, Saraya, Ruby. If they could get Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, or whatever she is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even Naomi, too.
I mean, you could put Serena Deeb as well. She was in WWE.
Yeah. Not many others. Right? AEW doesn't have many others.
Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah, I guess. But that's good, That'd be a group that they could get over. They could get a lot of heat, too, in AEW. Right? Like, we know what we're doing. You people don't know what you're doing. We've been to the big show. This is nothing. We're here to take over. That could work. And they already kind of started that with Britt and Saraya and their promos against each other, right? Like, they were going in that direction. And it was kind of like, aren't you supposed to be the heel here, Britt Baker?
Yeah. Exactly.
So maybe at first they went there by mistake, and now they're like, let's just go there on purpose this time. See how that works out.
Well, I think they tested the waters on a couple of things, and now they've kind of figured out what works, what doesn't work, and it's what people want to see, I guess, right? So go with it.
Yeah. All right, Johnny. People want to see you. When's your next match? When can people see you? I know it's this weekend, right? Sunday afternoon in Laval.
Sunday in Laval, yeah. I don't know if you see my Twitter lately, but I just posted 2 promos for it. If you can maybe show off 1 or 2 of those, that'd be pretty sweet. One of them is my manager, Sugar Shane Pinto, talking about my 5th match with Drew Onyx this Sunday.
You want me to play the promos? Huh?
If you could play one.
What are you asking me to do?
At least, I guess, Shane Pinto's.
What do you want? You want me to play Shane Pinto? The whole promo? How long is this? Oh, it's too long.
Oh, it's probably only 2 minutes.
It's too long for me.
Oh, play Onyx's then. You can play Onyx's.
I saw his already. A minute. I guess we could play your.
Oh, you don't like Onyx's?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I'm just disappointed, I'm not your manager and this other guy is. I don't want to play his whole promo.
Well, you're not exactly feeling well. Like
whatever, so John.
It's kind of best.
Yeah, right. Okay, here's your manager. I can't hear him. Hold on.
To be completely honest and completely between Drew Onyx and Genesis at January Jackpot this Sunday, to be completely honest and completely transparent with each and every one of you, have been at a loss for words.
What happened to the audio?
And the reason being for this is simple. It's just, before there was a Sugar Shane Pinto, there was a Shane Pinto that would watch these 2 men for years brutalize each other to the point of no return. You see, I've seen leather being whipped across the...
What? What do you say?
I'm old now. If he was a kid watching me wrestle.
Yeah, what the hell? How old is this guy?
I'm old now. If he was a kid watching me wrestle.
I don't understand.
and chest of
24,
men.
25.
Oh, okay.
I have seen bloodshed.
You
I
remember the
have
strap?
seen
Talking about the strap match.
hands gripped.
What?
He's talking about the strap match. You saw that. You were there.
Yeah.
Around the throats, waiting for the last bit of air to be expelled from another person's body, all in the name of complete and utter domination. I have witnessed it with my two eyes, and I'm sure as hell there have been a few of you that have witnessed it yourselves. There is a history between these two men, and they are bound to fight each other forever. This Sunday will be no
I wasn't expecting that.
The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot foresee the damnation that will occur in that ring. All I can do at this moment in time is just pray to God that it doesn't change your life forever like it will for those two men.
What?
Baptized
Like
in
it will
blood.
for us.
Violence is mandatory. So is
Baptized in blood. Violence is mandatory.
Onyx versus Genesis. Destined to fight forever.
Okay.
I wasn't planning to fight forever, but okay.
Apparently you have to fight him forever.
That was
John.
still...
Good luck to you. You're going to be fighting forever.
It's going to be good.
Forever!
That would have been fantastic if you would have done that, to be honest, and it. That would have been great.
Terry Funk, baby. Yeah. Cool. So that's your manager.
Yeah, it's going to be violent.
Yeah. I have a,
we actually...
You know how John, I'm, what... I got nothing to say. It's not WWE.
Well,
I'm not going to criticize these things. It's fine.
I just wanted to say, like, we actually cut a promo together, actually. He was actually at my place. We cut a promo, but the video wasn't working. So he had to cut one just out of nowhere like that. So it was too bad because, like, we had some really good promos. We cut several good promos, actually. But, yeah, his phone crapped out, so it didn't work out.
Oh,
sadly.
that's odd.
Oh, it happens sometimes, If your phone's not up to par, up to speed, it's going to happen.
I don't know how that happens, but okay.
Well,
AJ's phone?
It happens. I imagine that's happened to AJ a couple of times. It used to happen to us, actually, if I'm not mistaken, when he used to do videos.
Never happens to me.
Periscope.
I got an iPhone. I got no problems. Everything works. All right. Well, you got a big match here against Drew Onyx on Sunday. I would just advise your manager, just because Paul Heyman is successful doesn't mean you have to like try and be like Paul Heyman when you're doing your promos. You know what I mean? You could just cool out a bit.
He's not Jewish.
No. There's nothing inherently Jewish about Paul Heyman's promos, John. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shmuley?
He called Sammy Shmuley.
Shmuley.
That's not really a Jewish thing. Just what he called him. Shmuley, I guess.
I believe it is a term, is it not?
I think it's a name.
Yeah.
Some people are named Shmuley. So he makes some. It's a name. It's like a name. He called Sammy Shmuley. It's a Hebrew name, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. I guess he drops some Jewish references.
He does it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Anyways, all right.
In terms of the loud, you mean, or is like
I don't know. It's
up and
he's good. He's good. I like him. He's got good crowd work. He's fun with the crowd. He's good. I like your manager. He's fine.
He's not you though.
Who is? Who is? Just saying, Drew Onyx. If you need a little backup on Sunday, hit me up. Just saying.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. So big match. Was it 4 p.m.?
4 p.m. bell time, yeah. I think I'm going to be
Nice.
early too as well, so
All right.
you might want to get there early as well.
All
Because
right.
it might be not first, but maybe before intermission this time.
Well, if I am healthy enough, I will be there. If I am not healthy enough, I will not be there. So we will see how I feel tomorrow. Got a big day tomorrow, big UFC
We'll all be
pay-per-view. We got the UFC 283 watch-along. I'm hyped for that. Going with Glover Teixeira and Davison Figueiredo. It's an all-Brazil main and co-main event pick for Team Dave. Going full Brazil with Figgy and Glover. Tomorrow, UFC 283, 10 p.m. Eastern Time when the pay-per-view starts. That's when the show starts. Right here on the Ringside Report Network. And that's it. That's it, Sean. Good luck on Sunday. I don't think you'll need it. I think you will defeat Drew Onyx. Although, I don't know. I don't like your manager because he screwed you out of that last match, you know? Last time I saw you wrestled Drew Onyx. You had Drew Onyx beat, and your manager was like, oh, let's take a picture. I was like, whoa. Let John win the match here, buddy. It's about victories. It's about W's. It's not about showing off for the Instagram. This are these kids, you know? He's a young guy. He doesn't understand. It's not about showing off. It's about results. It's not about the appearance of what you have. It's what you actually have. It's not what you make. It's what you save. You got to have it. Flaunting things is not what it's about. It's about having it. So when it comes time for someone to check you, you have it. You're ready. Anyways, this younger generation, John, they don't understand. It's about results. It's about victories. It's about climbing the ladder. It's not about looking cool for a bunch of jerks on the internet.
Like, I see your point of view, but you also have to understand that you have to work with the new generation. You can't just put them down all the time. You have to learn that, they have their ways too. You have to try to work with people, not just, say you're tired, old, and, you work with children. That's not always going to fly.
That Instagram fame, that quick shine, that showing off, the influencer lifestyle, that's fleeting. It doesn't last. It's about results. It's about making history. It's about displaying the track record. Babe Ruth didn't have Instagram. That motherfucker broke records that still stand to this day. And 100 years later, we're still talking about Babe Ruth. It's about results. It's about making your mark. It's about victory. It's not about showing off. When you're victorious, other people show you off. You don't have to show yourself off. Real winners aren't showing off. Real winners are winning. Look at Conor McGregor. He's not winning anymore. What's he doing? He's showing off. Why? Because he can't win anymore, and he knows it. So he's going to show off the spoils, the riches. Because the work is over. But the people that are working, they're not showing off. They're quiet. Getting the work done. Making it happen. Johnny North, making it happen. You don't see him posing on Instagram flexing his gigantic biceps, but he's in the gym every day, working, putting in the work, putting in the hours, putting in the sweat. And he doesn't have to show off. He shows up and shows out. He shows up and everybody's like, God damn, look at that guy. I didn't expect that. But if you're all on the Instagram, you're all everywhere showing off, they'd be like, oh yeah, there's John, he's big. Whatever. See what I'm saying? Johnny's putting in that real work.
I see what you're saying. Sometimes I have like posed like flexing stuff and all that, working out at the gym. It has happened occasionally. So
it's pretty rare.
Can't say it is rare because I usually someone else is doing it and they just give me the video and it's like, okay, like why not?
Yeah.
Post something, you know.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing something, so why not? But for the most part, yeah, it's just business. And if I get photos from shows, I'll post them.
Yeah.
It's rare now actually get photos from shows. People don't post many photos. It was nice. AJ was at the last show. Got to see we have the video of the match. It's on Instagram. That was pretty sweet. We'll see what happens this time around. Who knows?
A lot of people do things to show off that they're doing the things. We do things to do the goddamn thing and to do it right. There's a difference.
And complain every week.
And do it right. Right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.